All right, we're going to review circles. First part of the review, equations of circles. What you need to know, standard form of an equation of a circle and general form of an equation of a circle, and how to go from one to the other and graph them, get the center, radius, etc. Basically, standard form of equation of circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to the radius squared. Remember that the center is in the opposite sign that the number inside of the equation is. So it'll be the opposite sign for center. Opposite sign for center. Pardon my writing. And then this is the radius squared. Radius squared. All right, let's get started. Number one. Here's the first question. When you click on the image, you'll see this. There is your graph. We want to know what is going to be the equation of that circle. All right, so the equation of the circle, to get that, you first identify where the center is. So that center is 0, 4. 0, 4. And you can verify it by counting out in all directions. It takes me 5 units to get there, 5 units to go up, 5 units to go right, 5 units to go down. It's in the very center of that circle. And that radius is going to be equal to 5 units. So when we plug it into the equation, it's going to be x minus 0 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 5 squared. Now 5 squared is 25. You don't subtract 0, you just say x squared. So x squared plus y minus 4 squared is equal to 25. X squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 25. If you would like to check this by graphing, you can always put it in here into Desmos. Go to desmos.com if you don't have it available to click on and verify your graph. You can see that it's got a center right there, 0, 4, if you zoom in, and then it does have a radius of 5. You can see that right there. Question number 2. A circle is represented by the equation x minus 7 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 12. What is the center and radius of the circle? So the center is going to be the opposite. So it's going to be positive 7 and positive 2. Switch to signs. The radius is the square root of that number because r squared is equal to 12. So the radius will be the square root of 12, which is 3 point something, but we don't need to worry about that because it's already in the radical form. So 7 to radius square root of 12. All right, try question 3. Pause these videos as you're going through them so you can try them on your own, and then you can unpause them and check it with me before you answer. All right, which equation represents a circle with a center at -4, -8, and a radius of 7? All right, the center is -4, -8, so we would say parentheses x plus 4 squared plus parentheses y plus 8 squared. Always change those signs. And then this is 7 squared, r squared, which is 49. So we have to look for 49 at the end and positives for both the 4 and the 8. So it looks like it's going to be that one. Next one, which equation represents a circle whose center is located at 8, -3, and whose radius is square root of 8? So we'll write that equation again. We're going to say x minus 8, parentheses x minus 8 squared, plus parentheses y plus 3 squared, and the square root of 8 squared. So r squared. Square root of anything squared is just what's under the symbol there. So the square root and square will cancel out, and it's just going to be equal to 8. X minus 8 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 8 by itself. X minus 8 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 8. There's your answer. All right, try the next one. Pause the video. When you're done, you can work it out with me. This is trying to find the equation of the circle or the center and the radius of the circle given the equation in the general form. Now, before I answer this question, I'm going to graph this and kind of get all that information without having to work this out by hand. So you can go to Desmos again. We're going to pull this down, and we're going to put this into the graph as is. X squared plus y squared minus 8x plus 4y minus 5 equals 0. Type it all in. And let me make this big. We'll zoom the graph out. And let's see if we can figure out all this stuff without having to do any work. Now, I'll still show you how to do it by hand, of course. So this is going to be your center. You see where my cursor is? That's at 4, -2. So 4, -2 is my center. And it goes all the way out to what looks like 9 and -1. So if you think about the difference between 4 and 9, or 4 and -1, that's 5 units. So your radius will be 5, and your center is 4, -2. Pretty cool. You can get all that right there. 4, -2, and your radius is 5. Now let me show you how to do that by hand. So we're going to do the completing the square method. And by hand, that's going to look like this. You will say, you will arrange the x squared and the minus 8x together. Leave a space afterward. You'll arrange the y squared plus 4y. Leave yourself a space afterward. And you're going to set equal to moving the 5 over to the right side because it is -5. We're going to add that over here. So it's going to be equal to +5 on the right side. Now remember, the number we're adding here also gets added to the right side. The number we're adding here also gets added to the right side because you have to add the same numbers to both sides to balance out the equation. So to get those magic numbers, remember, we're going to complete the square by doing the middle number. Don't worry about the negative, just keep it positive if you're worried about signs. -8 divided by 2 is -4. -4 squared is 4 squared, which is 16. That goes there and there. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. That goes there and there. This will break down to parentheses x minus half of 8 squared, or the square root of 16. This will break down to parentheses y plus 4 divided by 2, 2, or the square root of 4 squared. And then you're going to add the 5 to 16, which is 21, plus 4, which is 25. So there's your equation in standard form, and your center is the opposite of those signs. So you will have 4, -2, and your square root of 25 is going to be your radius, which is 5. So that's how to do it by hand. You can also get that information from the graph. Radius is 5, 4, -2. There you go. Next question. Pause the video, try it on your own. A circle has a radius of 3 square root of 2 and a center of 3, -1. Which point is located on the circle? We got 4 options here. We'll plot those points on the graph after we get the equation. So start by getting the equation. You have a center at 3, -1. Let's go ahead and write that equation. It's going to be parentheses x minus 3 squared plus parentheses y plus 1 squared equals some number squared. So r squared, we'll call it. Now, you know, I like to get the number r squared by, see, usually I have the radius as a number, but this time it's in a radical form. So 3 square root of 2 squared. You'll have to wrap that in parentheses if you're squaring it, because you're not just squaring the square root of 2, you're squaring the 3 as well. So that's going to be 3 squared times the square root of 2 squared. Now we can verify that in here. You can do square root SQRT, and put all that in parentheses, and then just put the square symbol on the outside, and you get 18. Now why is that 18? Well, when you square the 3, you get 9. When you square the square root of 2, you get 2. So 3 squared, square root of 2 squared is 9 times 2, which is 18. That's where the 18 comes from. So we're going to write that equation as x minus 3 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 18. Now that we have the equation, we'll graph it, and we'll see which one of those points lies on the circle. So let's go ahead and graph that equation. We have our equation now. So we got to figure out which one of these points lies on the circle. We have 7, negative 3. So you just do parentheses 7, comma, negative 3, close parentheses. That point's pretty close, but it's not on it. So let's try a different one. 6, negative 4, parentheses 6, comma, negative 4, close parentheses. That point appears to be on it. We will check the other ones to verify. So negative 1, 1, parentheses negative 1, comma 1. That one's off. And then 3, 3 is your last one. Parentheses 3, comma 3. And out of all those points, the only one that actually falls on the circle is 6, negative 4. So that'll be the one that works. How do you know that that's on the circle? Well, another way to check it, if you wanted to, would be to plug in the point 6 and negative 4 into here and see if you got 18. So I could substitute 6 there and negative 4 there. And we could test that out. 6 minus 3 squared. And then negative 4 plus 1 squared. You can put that in the calculator or do it by hand. It's 3 squared, that's 9. Negative 3 squared, also 9. 9 plus 9, 18. So it does work, checks. And so there's your answer. One more question on this one, then you were done with the first review. Okay, this question, pause the video, try it on your own, then unpause it and you can check it with me. The circle has a center at negative 5, 7. One point on the circle is negative 1, 5. What's another point on the circle? So it's very similar to the last one, except that we're not given the radius. We're given another point on the circle. So we're gonna write what we know from the equation. We know the center of the circle is negative 5, 7. So we'll start by saying parentheses x plus 5 squared plus parentheses y minus 7 squared. Remember, we changed the signs, but we don't know what it equals. We don't know the radius or the radius squared. I just put a question mark there because our goal is to figure out what that number is in the equation. We're not trying to find the radius. We're trying to find what that number is. You get that number by taking the other point and substituting that in for x and y. So I'm put the negative 1 there and the 5 right here. So what I want to solve for is what this equals. So we can do that by hand. We can put in the calculator. Just to verify that we can enter this in the calculator accurately, let's do that. So our goal is to do negative 1 plus 5, which would be 4 squared, 16, plus parentheses 5 minus 7, which is negative 2. 2 squared is 4. So it should be 20. So it should be equal to 20 when you plug that in. Well, that 20 is going to go on the end of your circle equation. So that 20 will replace this unknown number, and now you have your equation. X plus 5 squared plus y minus 7 squared equals 20. There's your equation of your circle. You don't need the radius. You just need the equation so you can go back and see which coordinate falls on the circle. So we are going to graph it again. I'll replace this with x, y, and I'll put equals 20. So there's your circle. X plus 5 squared plus y minus 7 squared equals 20. We can even verify the point -1, 5 falls on it by doing parentheses -1, 5. And there it is right there. So now we're going to test the coordinates that actually fall on it. So we have 4 coordinates again we'll test. -7, 12. That one's off. So let's test 0, 6. That one's also off. So we'll do -7, 3. That one looks like it's it. We'll check that last one. -2, 4. And again, the one that works is the green one here, -7, 3. That's on the circle. You can plug it in if you want and check it, but that's your answer. So hopefully this review was helpful for equations of circles. Now go ahead and work on the next review, and you can watch the video and check your answers for that one.